Write the appropriate term in the blanks. The alloys called dash and dash are used for making industrial magnets. Nippermag and Alnico. A magnetic field can pass through dash and dash, cardboard and water. The intensity of a magnetic field is indicated by the lines of dash. Force. The real test of a magnet is dash. Repulsion. With whom should I pair up? Compass. A magnetic needle. Door of a cupboard. A magnet. Repulsion. Like poles. Magnetic pole. The highest magnetic force. Write answers to the following questions. Distinguish between the two methods of making artificial magnets. Single touch method, double touch method. In this method, one magnet is used to magnetize the steel bar. In this method, two magnets are used to magnetize the steel bar. In this method, the magnet is dragged from one end of the steel bar to another end. In this method, two magnets are dragged from the middle of the steel bar to the opposite directions. As only one magnet is used to induce magnetism, this method is called single touch method. As two bar magnets are used to induce magnetism, this method is called double touch method. The magnetism created by this method is of low strength and lasts for a short time. The magnetism created by this method is of high strength and lasts for a longer time. Which substances are used for making electromagnets? The substances used for making electromagnets are an iron nail, copper wire of about 1 meter, a battery and pins, and can be tested. Write a note on magnetic field. The region around a magnet where the magnetic force acts on an object is called a magnetic field. The magnetic field around a magnet can be shown by means of magnetic lines of force. The intensity of the magnetic field at a place can be gauged by the number of lines of force that pass through a unit area at that place perpendicular to that area. The intensity of a magnetic field is low where the lines of force are sparse, and the intensity is high where the lines of force are concentrated. A magnetic field is the magnetic effect of electric currents and magnetic materials. The magnetic field at any given point is specified by both the direction and the magnitude. Magnetic fields are produced by electric current. Why is a magnetic needle used in a compass? The magnetic needle used in a compass freely rotates and always settles in the north-south direction as it is a property of a magnet. Thus, a magnetic needle can be used to ascertain the direction. Hence, magnetic needle is used in a compass. Explain with the help of a diagram how the intensity and direction of the magnetic field of a bar magnet can be determined. The region around a magnet where the magnetic force acts on an object is called a magnetic field. The magnetic field around a magnet can be shown by means of magnetic lines of force. The intensity of the magnetic field can be obtained from the number of lines of force. The intensity of a magnetic field is low where the lines of force are sparse, and the intensity is high where the lines of force are concentrated. A magnetic field is the magnetic effect of electric currents and magnetic materials. The magnetic field at any given point is specified by both the direction and the magnitude. Magnetic fields are produced by electric current. Give detailed information about how the merchants of olden times used a magnet while traveling. The merchants of older times used a magnet whose north-south side was known. When the magnet is freely suspended, the north pole of the magnet settles in the direction of the geographic north pole of the earth. This is how the merchants come to know the directions while traveling. The idea for using lodestone in a compass first appeared in China. The first compass were made of lodestone, a naturally magnetized ore of iron. The Chinese used south pointing spoon, which when thrown upon the ground comes to rest pointing at the south. Then the transition was made from lodestone spoons to iron needles. In the medieval period, a magnetic needle in the shape of a fish floating in the bowl of water was used as a compass pointing south. It was called floating compass. In the 20th century, liquid-filled magnetic compass began to appear. There is a lesser known compass called dry Mariner's compass. Can you tell why does a freely suspended magnet always settle in the north-south direction? Gilbert gave a scientific explanation that Earth itself is a gigantic magnet. The north pole of a freely suspended magnet settles in the direction of the geographic north pole of the Earth, since unlike poles attract. It means that the south pole of some gigantic magnet must be near the geographic north pole of the Earth. In other words, the thing we call Earth's geographic north pole is actually the south pole of the magnet inside the Earth. That is why a freely suspended magnet always settles in geographic north-south, attracted by opposite poles of the Earth as a great magnet. Which magnetic poles attract each other? Opposite magnet poles attract each other. Which pole of a spherical magnet will get attracted towards the south pole of the bar magnet? The north pole of the spherical magnet will get attracted towards the south pole of the bar magnet. What is an electromagnet? A soft metal core made into a magnet by the passage of electric current through a coil surrounding it is called an electromagnet. An electromagnet is a magnet in which the magnetic field is produced by electricity. The strength of an electromagnet can easily be changed by changing the amount of electric current that flows through it. The poles of an electromagnet can even be reversed by reversing the flow of electricity. An electromagnet works because an electric current produces a magnetic field. The magnetic field produced by electric current forms circles around the electric current. The magnetic field disappears when the current is turned off. How can an electromagnet be made? It is easy to make an electromagnet. To make an electromagnet, we need an iron nail of 10 cm length, 1 meter long insulated copper wire, a battery cell, pins. Neatly wrap some insulated copper wire around an iron nail. The more wires we wrap around the nail, the stronger will be the electromagnet. Attach a battery to the wire, and electric current will begin to flow and the iron nail will become magnetized. When the battery is disconnected, the iron nail will lose its magnetism. Use your brain power. Which direction will a magnetic needle show on the geographic north pole? North. All magnetic needles will show north direction. Is magnetic force a vector or a scalar quantity? It is a vector quantity because a magnetic field is the magnetic effect of electric current and magnetic materials. The magnetic field at any given point is specified by both direction and magnitude. As such, it is represented by a vector field. What is meant by magnetic force? The magnetic force is a consequence of the electromagnetic force, one of the four fundamental forces of nature. It occurs whenever objects interact in which there is charge in motion. Example, compass, a motor. Magnetic force is an attraction or repulsion that arises between electrically charged particles because of their motion. How does a magnetic force act without direct contact? Magnetic force acts without even direct contact because of the penetrating ability of the magnetic field. What is the difference between gravitational force and magnetic force? Gravitational force acts between any objects with mass. Magnetic force acts between objects with specific properties. It depends on the mass of the objects. It does not depend on the mass of objects. It acts over long range as the gravitational field is large. It acts over short range as magnetic field is short. Objects are always attracted to each other. Objects are either attracted or repelled. Why is repulsion the real test for identifying a magnet? A magnet can attract the opposite pole of the magnet as well as magnetic substances, iron, cobalt, nickel. So if a magnet attracts another object, we cannot say that other object is a magnet or a magnetic substance. But if the magnet repels the object, then we can surely say that the other object is a magnet because like poles of magnets repel each other. How will you find a magnet from among the various articles given to you? Magnet has the property to attract things made of iron, cobalt, nickel. A magnet has magnetic field which is invisible, but it has the property of attracting, pulling other ferromagnetic material such as iron, cobalt and nickel. So if we bring any iron, nickel objects near it, they will be pulled toward the magnet. The real test is repulsion. The article which shows repulsion when one of the poles of a magnet is brought near is surely a magnet. Let's recall. In which direction does a freely suspended magnet settle? North-south direction. What are the names given to the two ends of a magnet? Why are they named as North Pole and South Pole? Because the ends of the magnet always indicate the north and south directions respectively. Which metals are used for making magnets? Alloys of iron, cobalt and nickel. Nipper mag is an alloy of iron, nickel, aluminium and titanium, or an alloy called nipper mag made up of iron, nickel, aluminium and titanium. An alloy alnico made up of aluminium, nickel and cobalt. What are the characteristics of magnets? A freely suspended magnet always settles in the north-south direction. Objects made up of iron, nickel and cobalt are attracted towards the magnet. There is repulsion between the like poles of the magnet and attraction between the unlike poles of the magnet.